Alright, so today we're going to be doing a spoiler discussion for The Last Kingdom. Seven Kings Must Die. Alright, if you want no spoilers, I do have a YouTube short posted on the channel, so just look for that or I'll link it somewhere here. So we'll just get right into it like the movie does, pretty pedal to the metal. Waste no time, which I get it, it's a movie, but it did kind of lead to some of my problems with it, which, like I said, we'll get into. So we start off with King Edward's death. I wasn't really too torn up that we didn't see him in this movie. I didn't really care. I didn't really like his character that much anyway. But, some characters I did, like Edith, Uhtred's daughter. We get mentions of some, like Ethelfled, I want to say, Alfred's wife, Uhtred's son. We're going to mention of him. But some are just not, and if they don't play a role in the story, you don't need them, or their endings were good enough in the show, that's fine. But I can't help but wonder where they're at, or because that's what I love about The Last Kingdom was the characters. So whenever they're missing, it's kind of like you take something away. But I guess we can assume like Ethelfled, she passed away, right? 'Cause she's older. I know the actress just couldn't film is what it was, and yeah, Uhtred's son was in Rome, I think they said. So yeah, but anyway, so we start off the intro song. I thought it had changed, and I was really upset because it is different at first. But then they get into the normal intro stuff that you're used to. I was like, thank God, because I was like, I love the intro. Why would you change it, right? This is some time after. I'm not sure exactly how long. Maybe he said and I missed it, but this is some time after the series has ended. So the characters, some of them are just, like I said, Edward died. I don't know. They didn't say what he died from. Maybe he had his father's disease, Crohn's disease, I believe is what it was. We don't know, but yeah. They changed the actress for Edward's wife, right? I guess to age her up some. But then some characters, they just look the same. It's just something I'll mention. Like Uhtred, I thought they were going to go with this gray look for him for the whole movie, but no. After that, he looks the same as he always does. He's been. They do have him like struggle during fight scenes and things like that now, which I appreciate. But I don't know. It's not that big of a deal. I'm just saying it's kind of funny how he looks the same from like 20 to like 50, more or less. Some of them do. But yeah. So this is some time after, and we get right into it. So to start off, Uhtred loses his sword. Something I wanted to mention. I was hoping for, I like seeing him struggle in battle, but I was hoping for something more like, I guess, triumphant when he finally gets his sword back again, other than he just, like, sees it, and it's just like, oh, yeah, there it is, I was hoping, like, maybe he'd be, like, down, about to get got on the battlefield or something like that, and then he sees it, like a dead soldier had dropped it, Because maybe you would say, oh, that's too convenient, but I feel like it's also just as convenient that he finds it just and buys it off somebody right before the battle. But I don't know, maybe not. So that's just me. But yeah, he loses his sword, and Ethel Weird, I'm really gonna have a hard time keeping these names straight, loses his life to his brother, which he was a real shit too, I guess. But I did think it was pretty cold. Of course, and I was shocked because I expected it to go down like Ethelstan, tries to unite England the good way, like Uhtred's way, but Ethelweird is the bad guy throughout the movie that's trying to stop him. But no, Ethelstan is the villain throughout this, which was really, I guess, shocking. Or his boyfriend was. I'm not even going to try to pronounce his name, but I don't know. Some things Ethelstan did was like, I mean, come on, bro. We can't entirely blame that on the boyfriend either, right? Like killing, we'll just get into it, killing Aldhelm, for instance, he was a fan favorite. I really enjoyed him. I guess if this is the last, like, thing that they're doing, though, it's, like, not really that big of a deal not to have his character anymore. You might as well just axe off as many as you can, but yeah, that was a tough thing to forget, right? Rest in peace, Aldhelm, the ultimate simp. Poor guy. To what was her name? I don't know, the queen. But anyway, so also Ethelstan is gay. We do come to find out, which I don't think they had set up or ever alluded to that before. I think that's why it kind of fell off to me, as well as him being like a devout like Christian. Now I guess that was because of the boyfriend, but it was like, some of that stuff. I get a lot of time had passed, but I wish kind of seeds had maybe been planted a little bit better. Now seeing this, but I'm sure I'm just being too picky about it. I acknowledge. But I think a lot of people will some people will probably have an issue like with him being gay, like, oh, whatever, because of how much like woke political crap we just get thrown at us with stuff like this in movies and TV these days, that people are just so sick of it that whenever it's given to you in an organic way, which I do think that's how it was here, it wasn't like a politically motivated move to make him gay. Because historically, I guess it makes sense if Ethelstan didn't father any children, then we could probably maybe put two and two together that he was gay. But again, I think people would just get that misconstrued with
cruelty,
with how it's so overabundant in media and stuff today,
and
which I get. But yeah, so there was that. Uhtred, as far as his character goes in this movie, I really did like a lot of what they did with him in terms of his development being really consistent with his restraint and wisdom.
They're seeking power for himself and
like
for his
there's plenty
brother.
of times in this movie
And
where I
could
could have seen where
no
it would have
dream
been
to be a king in Aylesburg and ended up being beaten by boys.
Like within his right to pop off. Like right here, I think he could have, should have popped off on the boyfriend, and it maybe would have been, warranted. But he's really, this is a prime Uhtred, like full development, right? Full, like he chooses to save the boyfriend and use him as like bait for Ethelstan instead of just outright killing him. Like it's really good development with Uhtred is what I'm trying to say, and its peak here. So I did like a lot of his decisions in this movie. There was some funny stuff with him too. I want to mention, I feel like where they became self-aware, like at a certain point, what did they say? They mention how there's too many Ethel names, and everybody who watches the show says that. And then also Uhtred kind of getting kicked out of Wessex again. I thought that was funny because he's been kicked out and thrown out of that damn castle so many times. Yeah, right here.
Ethelstan, please see this.
And then also, what else? He almost says, "I am Uhtred of Bebbanburg," or whatever, because that's his famous line. You hear him say that so many times. But somebody was like, "Oh, dude, we know who you are. All right, chill out with that, right?" And so yeah, I thought that was really funny. Also thought it was funny. Just a little. We'll insert a little bit of comedy in here. Whenever Uhtred was trying to get. Whenever they were trying to get Uhtred to open up the Bebbanburg, and he's telling the son, like, no, don't let him in. None of Uhtred's sons or kids ever listen to him. No! He lets him in. He's like, no, oh God, no, my kids can't listen to me. I'm a terrible father. Jesus. And one other thing, I was hoping, speaking of Uhtred and his like son dynamic, I was hoping it would have been so cool to have Ethelstan like be an equal to Uhtred if they were gonna pit them against each other, like they did as hard as they did in this film, kind of. You might as well go have them have a fight scene. I thought that would have been so cool because Uhtred. I even thought this back whenever the show was the main show was going on. Like Uhtred's training Ethelstan, so like he better be careful, because he's gonna have an equal on his hands, in terms of fighting, because Uhtred's getting older. They said that, and Ethelstan's young. But the most we get them going at it in this movie was this little scene here.
You told them with your son.
Where he's just beating up on Uhtred, like on the ground, and eventually Uhtred stops taking it and does get the drop on him. But I wanted like some sword to sword combat. I thought that would have been cool. So yeah, struggling to read my own handwriting. There was a scene that felt like, again, just too quick, because Uhtred's making some sound decisions, and then he falls for this lady who like leads them out of the castle, that's been talking to the boyfriend once they have him trapped in there, And it was just like, really, guys, you fell for that? Like, or even she concocted this and was able to pull this off so quickly. Maybe I misunderstood this part, but I was like, I mean, come on, that's kind of easy. But again, you got to keep the pace moving because, you know, this is less than 2 hours to get all this done, right? So, so I do that, and then I think this is the same place where Finnan's wife gets buried. So we'll just go into that. Finnan's wife passes away. I wasn't too like, I don't know, I wasn't too torn up about it. I was torn up about it for Finnan's sake, but that was it. I thought the scene had some like kind of weird like religious undertones to it. I don't know if that was intentional. Like they get buried in this tomb for you know, like 3 days, I think they said, and you know, Jesus' whole story getting buried in the tomb and all of that. I was like, I mean, I don't know if that's intentional, but you know, it is what it is. Can't find it exactly, but there was also a weird, I think, romance developing between Edward's wife and Uhtred that doesn't really come to fruition with anything. I don't really know what the point of it was, but it was there anyway, so you know, it's fine. But I don't know what they're trying to do here. Let's see. The Viking they have at the start, we'll go all the way back to the start. They introduce like a Viking like daughter and father.
And I must appear
situation, I think. We don't really, this is kind of underdeveloped. I don't know. They didn't really stand out to me. Like I felt like maybe they were supposed to or could have had they had more time to do this. But again, I get it, and it's all good. Still very happy with the way that this turned out, or that we even got it at all. Let's see. Edmund had a few real wise lines where I was like, man, I would have just scrapped putting Ethelstan on the throne. I know they got to be historically accurate, but I just would have preferred like Edmund just to take the throne, you know, outright. Anyway, so yeah, I already said the Viking threat was kind of underplayed, and I wanted a more epic scene of Uhtred getting his sword back. Okay, so now we're to the final battle. There were some nice shots for the final battle for sure, like overhead shots, but it definitely wasn't like one of the best fights that we had in The Last Kingdom, which I would have expected because it's a movie and it's the last one, you know. But I do know these are hard as shit to film and very expensive. Wow, that's funny part. So yeah, I can't be too critical about it, but I'm just saying it wasn't the best one. I do like how they get the drop on them by putting down the spikes and all of that, and I do like the way they illustrate like these people are scared during the battle. You know, you see them pissing their pants and throwing up and stuff like that. Which in fight scenes like this is really on TV. I feel like you don't really see that, which is how it realistically would be. I like that nobody really got the the drop on Uhtred. It just seems like he's just kind of getting slashed by random people slinging their swords around just because he's older and slower. So, you know, I guess they're trying to stick more to being historically accurate. Like nobody, you know, nobody really knows what happened to him, but he did just get got in battle. You see him get stabbed once or twice. And Father Pulig is okay. I don't really know, again, like why they teased the death with Father Pulig other than just to give the battle a little bit more oomph. But yeah, his death was teased, but then he's okay. And Uhtred at least sees that before he dies. Like, let me know in the comments when you think exactly Uhtred, like, passed away. Like, was it here? Because I would think so, but then you see him kind of grip his sword, like, later on in the wagon, right? So, maybe not. I don't know. I would like to think that he did at least get to have that last conversation with Ethelstan, and that was real. I thought here whenever... What does he say? Destiny.
But my love for my people prevails.
I chose you.
The boyfriend says like destiny is for fools or something like that.
Then why am I living?
But I really thought Ethelstan was going to go like destiny is all whenever he says that and just go at him, but he didn't. You know, he just gets killed like that. So maybe a missed opportunity there, but I don't know. Maybe that would have been a little bit much, right? And I do like the way they subverted. Maybe expectations, or just did a little twist where it wasn't all the kings that actually got killed, it was the king's sons, which is just as good as killing the kings, because then they have no line of succession, you know? So that was pretty good, and makes sense that the kids would get killed because they're not going to be as skilled on the battlefield, right? So that works for me. Okay, let's see. And then we get so then we're into Utra's death, final scene. I thought this was a good enough apology between him and Ethelstan, but still it's some tough stuff to forgive in here for sure. He does look really pale and sickly, but I was surprised he was even able to get up and walk at all. So I almost prefer that they would have showed him die here maybe, but I get why they wanted to kind of leave it open-ended too. And if Uhtred had died, that would have confirmed that Uhtred was a king, to fulfill the prophecy. And maybe some people would like to think that he didn't die either, because Uhtred never wanted to be a king, so maybe it's happy. Uhtred tells him, don't reproduce. Ethelstan's like, yeah, no problem, bro. So maybe it's better to think that Uhtred didn't die as a king, or maybe it's better to think that he did die and he got into Valhalla. But I find it hilarious that in Valhalla, I guess they couldn't get the actor for Ragnar. As far as I can tell, I don't see him anywhere. You'd think he'd be right at the forefront, but they had a whole season of The Last Kingdom trying to get Uhtred's Ragnar, his brother, into Valhalla, and then he's not here. So I guess that didn't work. We can presume, right? I don't know. Maybe you can see him, but I assume they just couldn't get the actor. But they got the dad and stuff anyway, which is cool. And then I absolutely love the final shot wherever it goes into modern day. And you get to see the castle. Definitely somewhere where I would like to visit, but I'm very cheap, so I may not ever do it. But I would like to, right? But yeah, that is super, super cool to see, that transition shot. Absolutely loved it. Bumped the movie up a good bit for me, for sure. Again, not that it was bad. I'm not mad at the ending. It was just more of some of the way that we got there was it could have been better, has been better in previous seasons, but I'm judging that by the Last Kingdom standards, by regular TV standards, and the way other shows and series finale has ended. This is definitely, top tier. So again, let me know how you think Uhtred's, what you think happened to Uhtred in the end, if he died or not. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Anything I forget, I'll leave in the comments, because I usually do end up forgetting something. But yeah, so thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.